I'm good. Thank you for coming to us. Thank you. I'm going to do the normal podcast with you, and on the end, probably they have a few questions for you. Are you okay to answer to them?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So let me start by the beginning. Say hi. Thank you so much for being here. We know each other, so it's always a pleasure to talk with you. And when I think about digital influence and being in the techno scene and etc., you always come to my mind for many reasons. One of them is because you have a specific opinion about digital world and social media. So we go there in some minutes. But I would love to, if someone is not from the techno scene,
yeah,
I want to tell you a story. So first tell your name and where you were born, because you are a mix of two countries. So tell me, Mark.
My name's Mark Reeve. I originally come from Bournemouth. That's in the south, on the south coast of England, in the UK. And my mother's German, my father's English. They got divorced about 24 years ago. And my mum took us back to Germany. So I've been living here ever since. But as you can hear, that I do have a very British accent. So I've still got loads of my family. All my relatives are in London. So that means I travel between England and Germany. So I have a sort of a multicultural sort of background, and I'm happy because I think when you can speak two languages is such a beautiful thing, because you have the best of both worlds and you have best of both. The Germans have a very special character, and so do the English. So it's been lovely. It's been a lovely life so far, having two countries to visit. So that's my little story.
Mm-hmm. And so what is your influence with music? How music appears for you? Like, did you learn music when you were a kid, or what is for you?
Well, I sort of grew up with listening to music in my dad's car. He used to smoke these big fat Havana cigars in his Mercedes, and he used to do weddings. He used to pick the bride and the groom up, and then he'd take the two to the church. Then he'd take them to the airport to the honeymoon in the Mercedes. And every time he'd take these cars back home, because we'd have these cars in the garage, and he'd pick me up, and he'd take me, to the beach, and we'd turn up Michael Jackson or Tina Turner, or all these old sort of hits that were good in the past, and we used to listen to them while we were driving along down the beach. So that started me off in a very young age. I was only maybe 5 or 6, 7. I can still sort of, in the corner of my mind somewhere, I can still think about those times. And those were one of the first moments, I think, when I can remember actually listening to Eric Clapton with my father in the car. That's when I really started getting into Dire Straits and guitar music, sort of like not metal, but sort of at the time everyone was into Dire Straits, so sort of like Chris Rea and all the old sort of thing. And then I'd start moving on to dance music, where I was listening to Madonna and Michael Jackson, and then I noticed for myself that I wanted to go more sort of the dancing direction, and that music was that would make me want to boogie and dance. So I was like, it's like moving away from that sort of how could you say it, more boring music, but I was going, not boring music, but I was going more into the dance music. So that's when I started to listening to Prodigy and Depeche Mode at the time. Depeche Mode was very big for me. I love listening to The Doors. Jim Morrison, and all this stuff was sort of like so interesting for me. On the other side, I'd listen to Nirvana and Kurt Cobain. So I was really into the the drug music back in the day, like everyone used to listen to in those groups. So this is probably the biggest inspiration for me, that background, coming from that background, and my father being obviously a very, very interested musician. Well, not a musician, but very into music. He'd always sing in the car. He'd always used to do karaoke. He'd be everywhere that there was to do with music. So that I've taken that all with me in my head and in my brain and in my music that I produce today, probably. So I've like taken all these things and mixed it all up, and probably that's still in my brain somewhere and coming out. So yeah, that's
very well. I need to say something. You are an amazing dancer.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah,
we talked about this.
I do that. I do how do you call it? It's the shuffle.
Yeah, you were amazing.
And I used to dance like that every weekend. I was in the clubs Friday.
I was going to ask you that. So, okay, you grow up in music. Me too. My father was, so I totally, and if you grow up, I grew up in, when I was on the 90s is a big mix, is where I get really a lot of different kind of influence, because I live in Africa. I have Cuban people, it's the 80s music. And so it was a big explosion, much different than it is today. Then you have all the things who come from the 90s and etc. What was the moment? Then did you start raving first or clubbing first, or what came first? How DJing appears in your life?
Well, I had the best of both worlds in that, because I started doing both. I was very interested in producing music already. And I was also interested in going clubbing, but I think I started producing music before I even went clubbing. We used to have an old Commodore 64, and we used to start, I had no idea. Cubase at the time was so difficult for me to pick up. I really didn't understand it. And then, and then after a couple of years, when I was 16, 17, then I started trying to get into clubs. I used to have this, this old moped license that I forged. And then, I tried to get into a club with it. So, and it worked, actually. I tried every week until the bouncer said, oh yeah, okay, this guy again, let him in.
Is this Germany or UK?
In Germany, I tried to get into the clubs, and I managed to get in. This was in the Omen in Frankfurt, where this used to be Sven Bath's club, or Sven Fed, how you say it in German. And he's now a multi-millionaire with Cocoon and all the parties that he's done in Ibiza, and anyway, I started to go to these clubs, and obviously the more and more I listened to techno, more and more I was getting crazy about it, and doing the crazy things that you do in the clubs, and that just gave me more inspiration to DJ. And then I wanted a DJ. Then I thought to myself, now's the point, I want a DJ. So then that's when I started buying records.
What was DJing for you in that time? How you see DJ for you? Because it's slightly different than is DJing now.
Well, it was. I didn't really know what the guys looked like, because there was so much smoke in the club. There was so much smoke in there that I couldn't even see who was playing. So you had the flashing lights, and I knew Sven Fed was playing, or DJ Dark, or Frank Lorbeer, or Johannes Heil, Dritter Raum, and all these German guys. I knew Richie Hawtin was there a lot, and I knew Rob Acid, and I knew these guys were playing, but I couldn't see them, and I didn't care. I'd go there, we would hang out, we would have these little books with us, and everyone had to put their name and address in the book and say what hobbies they do. And we used to sit there, and we used to sit near the speakers, and everyone was loving each other, and then we'd all do a pill, and everyone was, you know, it was sort of like this love connection going on in the club. It was nothing like it is now that everyone's to be seen and everyone's playing with their mobile phone and everyone's doing videos of everyone. And, you know, it wasn't like this. No one wanted to be near the DJ. He'd do his thing and we'd love the music. We'd just dance the whole night. So that was like a big difference. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be a policeman, but I also want to be a DJ. So
you want to be a policeman?
Yeah, I wanted to be a policeman.
Why?
Because I like sorting people out when they get up to mischief. I'm a bit of a bossy boots. I always have been a bit of a Mariah Carey, and I like telling people off. To be honest, don't do that. Don't do that. That's why I always had dogs, because I used to like telling them off. I can be very horrible at times. So that's what my girlfriend says to me. Anyway, you're a real devil at times. When we have a row, when we have an argument, I'm like, oof.
What is when are you born? In what months? What is your...
I'm Scorpio. I'm on the...
Oh, of course you are. Okay.
I'm on the board. It's a Sagittarius, so that makes it even worse.
Oh, no. No. Never say that. Okay.
No, Sagittarius is cool as long as you don't get on the Sagittarius is very, very lovable, but also at the very same time, you have to be cautious that you don't hurt a Sagittarius, because Sagittarius, they can get hurt easily if you upset them. So it's like the same as Leo. Leo's the same in that they don't like, if you get personal with them, they'll explode. Like they go wow, like a lion does. So where was I?
No, you did want to be a policeman. I'm sorry. You did want to be a policeman.
I wanted to be a policeman, but at the same time, I wanted the music. For me, watching Carl Cox, and you know, I used to go to Matcham's Market in England when I was 18, 19, when I could get into clubs. And Carl used to play at the old fire station in Bournemouth. And I'd always go there and try and speak to Carl, but you know, obviously with the amount of people in there, you could never get near him. So you know, I didn't even know any of these guys. Now I know them all, but you know, for me it's crazy to say now I know them all. Carl responds, you know what it's like when you write a comment under someone's Facebook posting. They only sort of write back when they know you or know your music or know, you know, or you've had something to do with them. You know, you always get that on Instagram or Facebook. It doesn't matter. They always write underneath the people they know or the music they know. So now Carl's responding to my stuff, and I've met him backstage in Amnesia, or no, not Amnesia, in Space, and it's been a crazy time. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a policeman anymore. I think DJs,
you are kind of a policeman.
It fits the bill a lot better to me. Until now, I've had an amazing ride. I mean, it's been awesome. So
tell me, when did you get your first gig?
I had a residence, I used to do my own parties to begin with. I used to do these events all around in Germany. I used to play at birthday parties. You know, I do the techno part that no one wanted to listen to. You know, everyone wanted to listen to hip hop or oldies, and I'd come along and I'd do a half an hour techno until people would tell me to piss off. And you know, I came up with this. I saw this old club near where I used to live, and I knew it wasn't doing very well because they were playing rock music and all sorts of mashups things, and I said, we used to park our cars on this in front of the club, and we used to open up our boots, and we used to play the techno music out of our cars and dance to it. So I said to the guys, or the guys said to me, Mark, why don't you check that club out and see if the manager's willing to do a party with us. So I went in there on my own, And I spoke to the guy. I said, listen, we're always here. You can probably see our cars. We're always parked in front of the club and we're listening to techno. Do you think I could play here? And he said to me, I'm not sure about that because people don't want to listen to techno. And I said, I'll bring all my friends. I'll bring 100, 200 friends. And he said, well, if it's like that and they all pay for it, then why not? We'll try it out. So I ended up being the resident of that club. I think it went on for 2 years, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and techno got bigger and bigger and bigger. And
what year are we talking about?
We're talking about 97, 98. Yeah, that just got bigger and bigger, and then finally it closed.
Your first gig was there?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the first real gig was there. I mean, my first actual gig was in England when I was 15. I used to go to a club called the Embassy, and the Embassy was for for under 18s, and I'd play music, Salt and Pepper and whatever. I used to DJ there, but that was way before I had a professional sort of gig or anything near a gig, you could say. That was just child's play probably, but maybe it has something to do. I was the youngest DJ in Bournemouth at the time. I was 15 years of age, and if it would go past 12 o'clock, I'd need my parents to signature or put their names on this form that I could play. So yeah, that was quite exciting as well. I used to actually put one tape deck and press play on the other one like that. I used to change. I didn't even have a mixer or anything. I'd just go from one tape deck to the other tape deck. Crazy times. Anyway, yeah, that sort of was the start for me. And then I'd play in all sorts of. I used to have a house club that I played defected sort of music, more sort of vocal house. I used to play there, and that was the first real crowd that I had, over 500 people probably. I was playing, what Carl plays sometimes in Ibiza, that sort of housey sort of music I used to play. That was lovely. And then I sort of moved on. I wanted to go back to techno, and then I really wanted to get, something out of it. And I knew that the only way was to produce. So that's why I really started getting into Reason at the time, and Appleton, and then I started to produce. Really started because I knew I wasn't going to have a chance against the rest if I wouldn't show what I can do, if I have talent or not. So yeah, I started to produce, and I started to try and get into the Cocoon Club in Frankfurt. That was when Bass very second very big club.
But was after you, okay, but let me find a chronology connection between. So the first time then you released something, what was, how many years after that?
Well, I had the resident sort of stuff going in 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6. I was resident there for quite a while in the house club. So I was like 4 years, and I produced house music. I did produce a couple of old sort of things for Tool Room and CR2 and Defected. I had an EP with Tapesh. That's a German sort of tech house DJ, and so I was producing. I had my first sort of tracks out at maybe at 2008, 9, something like that. Maybe before that, 2007. And I was just messing around, you know what I mean? I was just trying to find out where I'm going with all of this, because at the beginning, you don't know where you're going. Am I going the house? Am I doing tech house? Am I doing techno? So you have to really find your way by trying to find out what makes you happy the most. And for me, I could not leave the techno. I always thought to myself, listening to the house music, oh, this is lovely, but I can dance with the girls with it, but I'm missing something here. I'm missing the sort of power. So I thought to myself, no, I have to go back to techno. I mean, this is not making me happy. So I went back to my old roots, and I thought the best thing would be was to try and get into Cocoon. So I was getting on Cocoon's nerves all the time. Every week I'd send them tracks. Every single week I'd send them tracks. And Powley at the time would say to me, Mark, you know, don't be mad, but this time it's not, no, this time, no, we don't want it this time. No, 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 it doesn't fit to the label. No, no. So I thought, oh, fuck it. I can't be bothered anymore. So there was many times where I thought to myself, I'm going back to work. I don't want the music anymore. I'm finished with it. It's just getting on my nerves because I'm not getting anywhere. And then I had a lot of friends in Frankfurt, and one of my friends was working at a vinyl shop, and his name is Ingo Boss. And Ingo, at the time, he really believed in my music, and he said to me, "Why don't you do a dub plate, right? And put that music on a dub plate. It's like a record, like a demo sort of record. I don't know. The dub plates are a bit thicker than normal vinyls, and it only gets pressed once. Well, you could do 20, but it costs too much. And at the time, these things were very expensive. You'd pay like 40, 50 euros just for one record. So this was a dub plate, and I put both tracks that I wanted to give to Cocoon on the dub plate, and Ingo sort of put them in Sven's pile. He sort of like put it in there in the demos, in the promos. Sorry, he put my record in his record promo package, and he started listening, and then he phones Ingo up. Sven phones Ingo up, and he says, "Oh yes, who is this Mark Reeve? Who is he? I don't know a Mark Reeve." And Ingo said, "Yeah, well, yeah, this is a friend of mine. You know, I don't like you putting stuff in from your friends. I don't like it, but this guy is fucking amazing." So he ended up playing the tracks on the same night that he listened to it. He played it in Cocoon, in the big Cocoon club. And the next day, Ingo phoned me and said, "You won't believe what's happened." And I said, "What?" He said, "Sven's just played your track tonight, and he wants to sign it on Cocoon." And I said, "Yes, yes. This is it. This is it. I'm going to be big. I'm going to be playing main stages everywhere in the world. This is it. This is the type of thing you think of when you're young and you're happy that you got signed somewhere, and it's a big major label.
Just somewhere in the label then you want. That is a big...
Yeah, exactly. The big label that you were chasing after all these years. Like a lot of people chase after Drum Code or, all these labels like Filth and Acid from, there's so many labels out there that a lot of people want to get onto, or Tale of Us's label, Afterlife. So, there's many labels that people chase after. And this was one of my labels that I really wanted to be on. And this was a door opener for me because this really went viral everywhere. Adam Bayer was then playing the tracks. Richie Horton would play it. I got a message from Ali from Dubfire saying, "Oh yeah, Mark, this is amazing stuff here. Would you like to do something for me?" This was a door opener. I mean, I was getting messages from big guys. Pig and Dan wrote to me saying, "Oh, we love your music. It's amazing, Mark." That's the first time I met Pig and Dan, and we've been friends now for 10 years. So this opened up so many doors and so many things for me that I was like, wow, this is fucking amazing. What's going on? So and after that, I mean, obviously, Adam asked me if I could produce, if I could give him tracks, and this finally this opened the door to Drum Code as well. Not only that, I was everywhere. I mean, I was producing lots of music. Richie Horton he played a lot of my music at the time, and I was writing back and forth with these massive guys. I got a message from Carl Cox saying, "Mark, I want to do something with you on Intech." So I was like producing all this music, and it was going everywhere. I ended up releasing on Carl Cox's label, on Drum Code, on I did lots of follow-up releases for Cocoon. I was on fire. So the thing was, I didn't have a manager at the time, and when you're young, you think you're going to get big. without all the management side and all the PR and all this stuff that you need, all the Instagram.
Well, it wasn't a moment as well. It was in a moment. Then that is what, 10 years ago?
10 years ago, 12 years ago.
That is in a moment, then the changement from the music industry start, first going very strong on PR and then slowly touching base on the social media, right?
Exactly. This is where the changes were happening after 2-3 years after that. And then you'd notice, my God, this is not about the music anymore. This is all about social media. This is not what's going on? What about the musical side of everything? Is this just social media and what people look like, or is it about the music? Because at the end of the day, the music still has to be good, otherwise. And this is what I find today, which a lot of people tend to forget, that we're here in the music business, and it still is about music. I tend to take the example of football players. It's okay if you have a fancy hairstyle as a footballer, but if you're not producing the goods, if you're not scoring goals, and I always take Messi as the best example. Lionel Messi, he's not the prettiest guy in the world. He's a little midget. I think he's 165, 170, Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
But he produces the goods.
Hey, Mark, I'm 162, so slow down.
Oh, but you're a girl. That's different.
Okay.
So, I mean, Paul's probably bigger, isn't he?
Yeah, no, Paul is 148. No, I'm joking. It's 180. No, I'm joking.
It's 180.
I'm joking. I'm joking. It was funny. Jesus, Paul.
Oh, Paul's laughed and he hit he's hit the keyboard.
Sorry. No, it's 180. But it 183, whatever. But was when I need to laugh. This guy made me laugh. Not you, Mark, him. It changed a lot, but as well, the way they fill clubs and the way then techno changed for being a mainstream thing, all that change did affect the scene. No?
Yeah, it has affected it. It started off when, I mean, I don't want to blame any girls. I mean, you can't blame girls for it. But, you know, as soon as, I don't know, so the sex appeal started with DJing.
Yeah, the sex appeal.
I mean, when we'd see sort of one of these topless girls in Ibiza.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone used to say, "Who is this? This is terrible. Ah, what a silly cow. Oh, she's useless. She looks good. She's hot, but she sucks." So now this is sort of, you know, people can't get enough of these girls in bikini.
Yeah, but I remember then in 2007, 2008, the reason why I don't use my name Rita and I use Rocky is because when I started playing, was a huge amount of sexy DJs, topless DJs, and things like that going on. And because I was coming from the TV and I did all this modeling, I did want a name, and I was almost dressed in a burqa because I did want really to shift that. Today, I'm much more relaxed with it. But in that time, for me, I did not want to be lady something, miss something. I did want a male's name. So when you think about hockey, you don't think about a girl. So, and it was tough. I remember one time, and Paul is here next to me, he was going to laugh. I went to play in St. Petersburg, and I arrived there. And if you guys know me personally, you know, then I'm a tom. I'm always dressed as a guy. And I was in Nike sneakers and jeans and a leather jacket, a short biker's jacket. And and we went to the venue, and this is June, but it's very cold, so end of the day. And then we have these Russian girls doing a bikini show, like a bikini god know what. And it's like a very expensive venue. And I'm trying to understand. And the guy looks to Paul. Paul was the first gig, then Paul was coming with me. And he looks to Paul, and instead to look to me, he looks to Paul and say, look to me and say, when she's going to change. And I look to him, and Paul looked to him and say, what? I swear I did think I did listen wrong. And he said, yeah, when she's going to change, high heels dress. I said, no. And the question was when I'm going to go away, because if you ask again, I'm out. So I know exactly what you mean. And was a lot like that. You had,
well, it was obviously going to happen because, you know, things change, right? We're getting more modern every day. We're getting more modern, and you know, it's bound to come sooner or later that social media has something to do with your career. It has to do with every career. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor. It doesn't matter if you have if you're looking after animals or whatever. Everyone chooses social media, Instagram or Facebook, to do their commercializing. So it's even footballers, they post, they Twitter, they do everything. So it's like, of course, this has affected us. And of course, you know, if you have a good appearance on social media, that's going to be 50% of everything else. If you're good at doing music and you have talent as well, and your tracks are good and you produce, and this is like 20, this has become like 20%, 30% maybe. The rest is all about your performance on social media. So, you know, this is the thing that has affected me in a lot of things because, you know, I'm not the biggest liker of social media.
You don't like it.
I never have been. I prefer to, you know, keep it cool on a basic sort of level. But that's not enough, see, because you have to. Nowadays, everyone wants to see what you're doing at home, when you're driving the car, when you're doing all sorts of things, especially when you're at gigs now. You'd have to take, you know, someone that comes with you and films everything from the hotel to the airport to the DJing. They want to see that, and that's, you know, that's PR for yourself. And, you know, these things have become so important for your career if you want to become bigger than you know what you've been before. So, or get bigger. If you want to become bigger, these are the things that you have to do. And if you don't do them, then you're going to stay behind. That's how it is nowadays.
I think as well the fact then, and I think that is here than techno DJs. I will say more techno DJs than any other style, because EDM don't struggle so much, and you will understand. Techno is mainly dark, very minimalist, low show off, right? No show off. When we have as a channel to grow as Instagram, what is a very visual place, and we try to pump artwork or music or message, then don't fit on the platform, because the platform needs bright colors and the beach and beautiful dishes and women more than men. You know, it was made for that. So is probably sometimes is us trying to figure out how can we pass our message without going left or right on our own things. Then I will never do this, or yes, I'm okay with this. You know, I feel then is there then every all of us in I say all of us because I have been working with music, and now I'm really shifting my focus in helping people to grow online. And I learned two things. One, dark artwork. For example, if you post artwork from Drum Code that I saw a few days ago, what is not a good example, because Drum Code is a strong label. But imagine then you have a gig here on France, and you post your artwork and say, I'm playing on France. I play on Cannes. Cannes is not a good example. I'm playing in Paris. If you post that and you don't tell a full story how important it is for you to play in Paris and you never played, or when you did play first time, and you can add probably 1 or 2 extra photos from the first gig, in construct a story behind me, then I'm in Amsterdam, or Javier then is in Ireland, or Stefanos then is in Greece, they will say, oh, good, Mark Reeve is playing there, but why should I care? So it's really important to craft the message in a way, then knowing the game, the Instagram game, the rules of the game, like we play football, knowing how we play tennis, what works and what don't, and as well understanding how we craft our message to make it go in a more normal way than make people.
Well, the main thing is to make yourself interesting. That's what people want to see. I mean, back in the day when Instagram started, you'd post a picture of yourself in shorts in front of a tree and you get yourself 1,000 likes. But it doesn't work like that anymore, see? So you have to construct a plan and you have to make these things interesting. So the tree would have to be growing pink elephants, or I don't know, you know, this is the kind of thing people want to see. They need to see something that's interesting, either in the picture or in the description. And this is what I've learned over all these years of Instagram, is that, you know, now I've posted today, for example, because my album's coming out on Drum Code. So today I posted, I wanted to tease people and post a picture of myself. But there I'm putting the focus on the hoodie, and the hoodie has a Drum Code label on it. So everyone knows exactly what's happening. And the music knowers and people that know Drum Code obviously will like that picture because they know, oh, there's new music on the way. I think that's interesting enough. You don't have to put a big story. I could have done a big story.
I think it's a great post. And Drum Codes, when you have a strong label, you don't need to stretch that.
Exactly. So the hoodie and the Drum Code logo for me did, you know, I want to tell people that there's new music on the way without spilling the beans too much, because I want to still tease people. So all you guys listening, I haven't told you anything, right? So my new album's coming out on the 20th of August.
Congratulations, Mark.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. So
what is the EP or many tracks?
No, it's an album.
Oh, sorry, you told me. I'm sorry, it's just my.
There's going to be eight tracks, and you know, 6 of them. There's an intro and an outro, and 6 of them are really dance floor. I mean, it's not an album where you listen to it in the car or, you know, fall asleep to it. Like a lot of artists just put albums out there. They put a lot of electronica tracks on there. Like you think this guy's a techno DJ, and then you listen to his album and think, huh? I don't get it. Why is not one techno track on there, although this guy plays techno? I don't understand it. So I wanted to make this album. I know I haven't chosen the best time to do it, because most people are getting back to coronas and lockdowns, and we're probably going to have another 4th wave, especially in Europe. So I wanted to make this album a very dance floor album-y sort of thing, that every DJ can use it, can actually use this album to play out in a club, and it works on any sort of peak time between 12 and 5 a.m. So it's perfect. It's absolutely, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to really put out a dance album. So I've done that now. So
I'm very curious. I don't touch in gear. I don't touch in anything since March last year. I don't put a set together since then. A part of my brain really wants to work with music and miss that, but another part did need to go in survival mode. It was a very scary thing to do when you have so many kids at home and you have 2 parents who work 100% from what we do.
Well, I have so many bills to pay as well.
Yeah, everyone had. And
Corona really got me wasted. I mean, I still have I still have the nice things that I had before, but it's very difficult. I mean, my girlfriend and I, we don't go to many restaurants anymore like we used to. Like, you can't smash out that money anymore. You know, it's. I mean, the music has given me a chance to have lovely things on and giving me the chance to buy lovely things, which I really, really appreciate. But I think since Corona, I've appreciated these things even more now than I did, because it's, you know, I know people that have restaurants that are just gone. They're just gone. They're not coming back. It's over. The money's not enough what they're getting from the state. They can't pay they can't pay their chefs. They can't pay the waiters. They can't pay it anymore. So, and especially they can't pay the rent anymore, because some of these restaurants in Frankfurt or the outskirts of Frankfurt cost at least 4,000 to 5,000 euros a month. If you have a good restaurant in the center, this costs a fortune. So it's like, these guys are gone. They're just gone. Now they've gone back to work, or, you know, it's you know, it's something that's changed a lot of people and made a lot of people think. So you have to have a backup plan. You have to have a plan B. Otherwise, you know, it's living on the train station, begging.
Tell me something.
Crazy.
We are talking about that. I want you. Normally, I have two questions for you in a row. One was, when it was the moment then you realized you could live from your music?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was earning. I can tell you how much I was earning at the house club. I was earning 350 euros for the whole night. I'd get there at 11 o'clock at night, and I'd play there till 7 a.m. in the morning, because the manager he'd still want me to DJ, even though there's only 3 guys on the bar and 2 girls on the dance floor. He'd made me play until these people have gone. So that was crazy. So you know, when I became 25, 26, I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to play for 350 euros anymore. And I think it all started in maybe 2013, 2014, where I was really earning. And then I thought to myself, the computer work that I was working for British Airways, for American Airlines, United Airlines. I was fixing their computers, and I was doing administration work for those guys. I'm an IT guy. I'm a computer guy, so I learned.
A lot of influencers are IT people, so it's the same.
Yeah, I have an IT background, so I was really doing administration work for all these. I was giving out rights, and I was folders and all sorts of passwords. If their password wouldn't work, I'd have to go out and I'd have to sort all these people out, even if a printer wasn't working or something. You know, these airplanes.
You're doing that.
These airplanes couldn't start without having this printed out sheet. So, you know, if I wouldn't turn up, the airplane can't start. So I'd have to. These were sort of emergency calls where I had to go out there on the run on the runway, almost on the runway. You know where they come in, don't they, on the gates? So I'd have to drive out there or take this buggy, and I'd used to go out there to see the guys, the mechanics, and I'd get these printers fixed out. They print out this bit of paper, and then the airplane could fly. So it's like, you know, I stopped doing that work around 2015. It's 2015. I stopped working, and I thought to myself, I can't do both. You know, I was coming into my office, and I was so tired because I was playing on the weekend, and I'd play almost Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'd be at a gig somewhere. So I'd come, you know, sometimes I was flying. So if I'd come back from Portugal or from Spain or from Italy, and I had a whole night where I was drinking lots of alcohol, and I'd come back and I'd try to go to work on the Monday, you know, I was fucked. I mean, I was like, my manager said to me, Mark, don't you want to go back home? I mean, you look terrible, mate. I mean, you can't stay in the office like this. You look terrible. And then I was literally falling asleep on the desk. So, you know, I had to come up with a plan. And I said to my manager at the time, I said to him, listen, you know, I can't do this anymore. I've been here 10, 12 years and I just cannot do it anymore. And my manager was actually really cool at the time. He said, Mark, if this is what you want to do, you can't do both. It's not going to work like this. I've got all your colleagues are listening to your sets at work and it's pissing me off. It's like really annoying because no one's working anymore and everyone's listening to your sets. So, you know, something has to happen. I said to him, listen, man, you know, I have to go, you know, I'm going to proceed with the music and I'm going to try and do this. And then I think in 2015, I started, you know, really earning enough money to live off. And if I didn't, then I'd have my mother in the background, which would support me. And she'd say, well, I'll give you an extra $1 here and there. But it's like, you know, it's difficult because at the start you can't sort of have a future. It's always like, am I going to get booked in 3 months or not? Is my calendar full up or not? Has the promoter paid or not? So you're constantly chasing after things. And if you're married and you have kids, you know, or you know, you have the demanding girlfriend, you can't do these.
Demanding girlfriend.
Can't do these things because you can't plan it.
You find okay.
You can't plan it. Some girls are very demanding, Rocky. It's terrible. You know, they want breakfast in bed. They want to do this. They want to go there. They want to do that. They want to go shopping. They want to have a handbag. They want to have shoes. No, I can't wear these.
You need to pay for that.
No, there's a lot of girls, especially Russian girls, that they want that. They want that. And then the funny thing is, you go into
I'm not going to say anything.
Open up their drawer, right? You open up the drawer, right? And you look at the first dress. There's loads of dresses in there. You take out the first dress. There's still the fucking price on it. There's still the price tag on the dress. And you ask them.
You are with the wrong people.
Not my girlfriend now, but I have had a couple of these girlfriends. And they say to me, I ask them, why haven't you worn that dress? And she says to me, well, I can't because it's for a special occasion. I like, what kind of special occasion? And they're going to say, yeah, well, I like a wedding or something. And I say, what about a wedding? There haven't been weddings in the last 20 years with anyone. My family is completely married. Your family is completely married. When are you going to wear this dress? Oh, I don't want to talk about it. So it's like those things. So like,
you should see my closet. I have like 30 pieces of clothes. Then I don't buy. Is everyone?
You probably haven't even worn yet. Right?
It's true. You have more clothes than me.
Million shoes that you've never worn.
No, I don't have that problem.
I do have some of them. I've got some Ralph Lauren polo shirts that I've never worn. One is green, one is a horrible yellow. But I bought that in Ibiza and I thought it was cool at the time. I must have been drunk. But it's just in the wardrobe and I've never had it on. It cost me about 90 to 100 euros and I've never worn it. I've never worn it. Crazy.
What was okay. When someone joined the Influence Warriors, one of the first exercises is one of my favorite ones and is not connected with Instagram. So it's a cool one for you. People speak about the board, like the vision board. And I always think then we should start by creating a board of achievements. And a board of achievements is a cool exercise. Then you write or you go and pick up some image or you create or you draw something like a big board where you put things then you are proud in life, not necessarily connected to DJing, but when you think about your life, you think about something, then you drop the mic, some moment, you kick a bully, you, I don't know, laugh until you could not handle anymore. Can you share like 3 things that come to your mind and then you feel then it's like board of achievements for you?
Well, yeah, I think the first one is getting into a club was the first achievement for me ever. Because I was trying to get into a club like since I was 12 years of age. And then it actually worked when I was 16, 17. And I had my first smoked on a joint in the club. And that was, for me, was like amazing. I mean, I was like tripping everywhere. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Seeing all these transvestites and half naked.
What kind of club you went?
Oman was crazy. this was a crazy club. This was the beginning.
Are you sure the correct club? Did you?
I was in the right club. There was techno music, and this is Sven Vaths and Carl Cox played there. Everyone played there. This was an amazing club. But also the Germans were they were very easy with sex. And I come from England, and the English are very they're very they're very how can you say very clothed. So yeah, you
my camera is having
I've seen it. Yeah, no, but I came from a very, very stiff background. So like this for me, when I got into the club and I saw all these sort of hookers and transvestites and all sorts of weird people, this was for me was like crazy. So this was a personal achievement for me to get in to that club. The second must be, the achievement, as you said, to actually earn a living from DJing. That was probably the second biggest achievement. And the third one is probably playing Awakenings. I mean, that was for me, Gashouder in Amsterdam. I mean, that was breathtaking for me. That was just an achievement for me that I will never forget.
Wait a second. Influence Warriors, put your hand up if that is your life dream, because I know some of you, I knew it.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew it. It's
an adrenaline feeling when you walk up on the stage and you see all these people.
No, guide us, take us there. So imagine then you arrive. How did you arrive there? By bike? No, by car for sure.
Oh, I got you get picked up from the airport in a big BMW in a 5 Series. I think it was a 7 Series. Sorry, it was a 7 Series. I mean, the car looked amazing. I mean, this was something you feel like a star actually when you get picked up for Awakenings. I mean, Rocco, he always treats every artist the same, and you really get the full works. I mean, if you're playing there, so you turn up behind sort of the.
You went directly from the airport.
Directly from the airport, and then you have to drive in because it's a very, very
I know.
sort of way to get in there. And then you go over the little bridge, and then you come into the Awakenings, and you walk in with with the driver, and he and then you meet Michel. Well, it's Michael at the time. It was Martin Boyce at the time. That was his name. He doesn't work there anymore for Rocco, but now it's Michel. And you get your pass, and they take you backstage, and then they say, "Listen, this is here. You can get your drinks here, and that, and that." And then you walk up onto the stage the first time, and it's just an adrenaline sort of rush you get.
Who was playing before you?
I was opening.
Oh,
playing before me, but
that is good. When you are opening in special that kind, it's always a good feeling because you are there already and people are starting. So give you, I don't know, if you need to get inside and something goes on, and it's something then you are really looking up, I feel much more nervous.
Yeah, it's like I was obviously I wanted a peak time spot. I wanted to play after Adam. So because it was a drum code party and I was playing, it was Denson Pika, Nicole Mudaba, Alan Fitzpatrick, Adam Bayer, and Sam Paganini at the end. So, obviously I wanted Sam Paganini's spot, but, that's how it goes. If you're playing there the first time for drum code, then you have to, if you're not one of these big guys, then you're never going to get one of the big spots because everyone else is taking those spots. So, I was pretty upset at the time that I was starting. I wanted to play.
I can see you complaining.
Yeah, I wanted to play the main spot, but opening, I realized it's not so bad, and it was pretty cool actually because it was full up anyway. I mean, literally the doors open at 11 o'clock in Awakenings, and within 15 minutes, this place is absolutely packed. So it didn't make a difference. You still had the light show. You still had your name written up. There was cameras, showing my face up on the thing. It was like it didn't really matter. I mean, it didn't feel like I was opening. It was like, okay, I was a little bit slower on the music. I wasn't playing the full-on techno that I normally do, but you know, who cares? I mean, this was just an amazing experience. I mean, there was probably about at least 2 to 3,000 people in the room when I stopped playing. So I passed it on to Denson Peaker afterwards, and you know, that was just an amazing sort of. It's undescribable. I can't describe it how that feeling is. And then I got invited to. Adam invited me the next year to come as a guest. I got put on the guest list. I was on stage with Pig and Dan, and then Pig and Dan played my track the first time in Awakenings, and that for me was a second sort of little present. I wasn't expecting them to play it, and then they played it, and it was amazing. I mean, and they were, I don't think they opened. They were second. I think it was Pig and Dan second to play, or they opened. I think maybe they opened as well. I can't remember. But it was an amazing evening, and you know, everyone that's sort of in the techno business is there. Monica Cruz, Adam Beyer, they're all there. All of them are literally there. And if they're not there on the Saturday, they're on the Friday. Then you'll see Ben Clark, Nina Kravitz, Deborah DeLuca. I don't know. You just see them all. Everyone is at Awakening. So it's like so much fun. I mean, you chat with everyone, and it's just amazing. It's just an amazing experience. If you're in the crowd dancing, that's nice as well. Sometimes I go out because I want to dance by myself. And then I'd go out to the dance floor and I'd dance on the dance floor. I don't want to be in the backstage all the time. I want to dance. And when you're backstage, sometimes you have these little areas where you can dance too, but it's always crowded, and everyone wants to shake someone's hand, or there's kissing and cuddling going on everywhere, and everyone wants to be nice to each other. But so I tend to like go out on the dance floor as well and have a little dance, and then I'll come back to the backstage. So, you know, it's an amazing experience. If you haven't been there, you have to go. It's like techno number one in this place. Amsterdam, anyway, is just so techno friendly. It's like
we are doing a party on a small.
I think the Netherlands, and you know, you have Loveland. You've got Mystic Garden. There's so many good festivals in Amsterdam. It's Docklands. It's crazy, especially at ADE. There's so much going on. If you haven't done it, you have to do it.
We are going to do a party. We are going to do 1 or 2 days. So
I know Paul's already told me about that one.
Yeah. We are hosting something. I think it's a great opportunity for who never did experience ADE to have a showcase and to.
Yeah, of course. I mean, loads of artists probably dying to play there. So it's like. And it's you know, it's something that you have to do. I mean, I've been there 6-7 times now, and it's always been funny, so funny. It's so much stuff going on. It's crazy, and you meet people that you haven't seen in a long time, and you get chatting, and then you start building plans, and maybe there's going to be a release together, or you know, work out some gigs, and you know, a lot of promoters go there. And a lot of bookers go there because they meet up with promoters, so they can get gigs going. So you know, these people do business there as well. You know, in these hotels, it's full up with people doing. I mean, I saw Nina Kravitz; she was in the same hotel as me, and you know, we were doing business there. I was sorting out my South American tour in Colombia, Mexico, and I think North America. So I was like. You know, I was doing full-on business there as well. We were talking about money. We were talking about everything there. So it's like 80 years. It's not just a playground for techno, but it's also a very big business spot to do good business. So it's a must.
I think I'm going to, before I finish, because I have my last question for you, I'm going to ask my people, my lovely people who have questions, put your hand up. Oh, Stefanos. Unmute yourself, my dear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for sharing all of this. It was really nice. And I would like to ask about something you said in the beginning. You said that you made a release on Cocoon and then you thought that, or actually did, that many doors are opened for your career. So I was going to ask if you think that releasing on big labels is the most important thing that someone has to focus on, or meeting the right guy or meeting the right promoters, or after the release, like the promoters reach you, or you have to find them as well, or the managers reach you, or you have to find them as well.
Okay. Thanks a lot for tuning in as well. It's like this. Well, nowadays it's much more difficult than it used to be. I mean, 10 years ago you'd have less artists than you do have now. So we're in a stage where it's even more difficult than it was. And I'd say you have to have a couple of release. Well, I would do it if I was starting from scratch. If I was starting from the very beginning, I would make sure I would have releases on labels. They don't automatically have to be big, but I would just try my goal would to be trying to get in. If I'm doing techno, I have to reach the techno charts in Beatport, for example, because labels look at that. I look at that. For example, I have a label called Subvision, and it's going really well at the moment. It's doing very, very, very well. I'm also investing a lot of time and effort into people that haven't released on big labels. So I'm building the label from my own stuff and people that are starting off and need a platform to release on, which on the same side is, for me as a smaller label, is difficult because at the same time I also have to watch my budget. So it's a mixture between getting your profile built up. You have to build your profile on smaller labels. Then you make the decision to maybe get onto a label like, well, I don't want to name any name. I don't want to do any names, but then you get onto a middle sort of stage where you think my music has now developed itself enough to get onto those middle stage, on the middle stage labels. Then you carry on doing that, but at the same time dropping demos to bigger labels. You can always focus on the bigger labels. Always keep on sending your stuff out to the bigger labels, but maybe it's not going to make it on the big labels because these big labels want someone that's been there for quite a while. Or if the track is like a real hit and they really believe in the track, they release it. But Adam Bayer, for example, I've been working with him for 12 years, and he will never, ever, ever take a newbie. It will never be like that. It will never be like that.
Can I add something? When I was talking with Ugur, when we had the podcast, I had exactly the same question to him. And he brought to my attention something very interesting. Then is the fact that if you have a release in a small label, but you can manage, then your track is played by a famous DJ and you have footage of that, that is going to be super powerful in taking your career to a step further.
Yeah, it can be, but nowadays it's sort of, no one cares about that really. But if Adam is like playing your tracks like every week, and he sort of focuses on your sound, and he's starting to develop a liking to your music, then you might get signed. There's a possibility that you'll get on an A-sides on a various album. These labels tend to choose an artist for various artists. This is how I did it with a lot of my artists. I did a big various artist. I put 11 guys on there, and I'd see who would perform the best. So then when this various artists would perform well, I choose the top guys from the various artists. Not just that, I have to like the music a lot as well, but I give these guys more of a chance to release an EP than I would with someone that didn't even make it anywhere, and people don't like that stuff. So it's like it's a mixture between me as an A&R and also the public, what they like and where the music's going. So it's like, I think it's very important to build sort of your profile before you start releasing on a bigger label. But obviously, if you have if I receive a demo and I think it's a hit, it's going to be a hit. So I was like, I'll release it. If I really believe in it, then I'll release it. But a bigger label has more to lose than I do. They invest fortunes, not fortunes, but they invest a lot more money into the label than I do. So they have, it's the whole reputation of the label as well that comes down to it. And if you release too many, well, Drumcode, I don't think Drumcode would release someone that starts from scratch. I don't think so. You need to build that profile up before you can start releasing on these bigger labels. That's a must. It took me quite a while as well. And I remember Cocoon saying to me, yeah, we liked your other house stuff, which is, I couldn't believe they said that, because I was like, I wanted to release a techno EP. But they said they listened to my other music before they made the decision of releasing my music on Cocoon. So, all this stuff that you do on these smaller labels is still very important. That's what I think. A lot of people say, oh, it's a waste of time. I don't want to release on these smaller labels anymore. It's a waste. It's not a waste of time. It's really because you develop yourself in these stages, which is very important. And that's what I think anyway. So, there's a lot of artists, a lot of DJs out there that don't have to produce. If you're coming from a modeling background and you have a massive Instagram following, for example, this is the other way around. Some of these model DJs or these, these Instagram influencer DJs, this is what I call them. They don't have to release one record in their life, and they will still be earning a fortune when they go DJing. Oh, hello.
Hi, Max. Yeah.
So,
run away.
But to come back to your question, Stefanos, that I think when you've reached a certain profile, you still have to keep on going. You still have to keep on connecting to agencies. You still have to start asking agencies. The worst thing you can do is start promoting, trying to sell yourself to a promoter, for example, to write to a promoter and say, can I play here? Can I play there? That's not very good idea, because, most of the promoters don't take you serious. You might get a spot somewhere, but it's going to be from 8 till 9 on a festival or something. If you do have a background of producing music and you have built your profile, then I would think, it's still important that you still go and get an agency, try and get into an agency, try and get into a booking agency that will take you and will do that work for you. They will take 15% agency fee, but they have the contacts, so they can build your DJ profile up, because producing and DJing are two different worlds. That's two different worlds. You have your DJing part, and then you have your producing part. And these are two different. Just because you're a big producer doesn't make you a big DJ. So you have to be on both levels. So that means you still have to go out there and still chase an agency and say, I want you guys to book me. I want you guys to get me gigs. This is the, I have the same thing. I have a new management now. So it's like, I still had to go out and chase people to get a new management, and I still need to chase agencies. I still need to chase my booker and say, listen, have you got me in here? Have you done this? Have you done that? So it's constantly work that you have to put in yourself as well. It's never a rest. It's a 24-hour sort of thing that's going on. Stefanos, do you want to follow up on what I've said, or?
No, I believe you answered my question. The only thing from what you said, so you believe it's a legitimate way to ask an agency to work with?
I would definitely go for an agency, yeah. I mean, an agency will ask you if they're interested. And this is the difficult thing. to get yourself interesting before you ask that agency. Because if you have got nothing to show them, then the agency will say no. They will say, no, we don't want you. I'm sorry, because, you know, they have to sell you with something. They have to try and sell you, and they won't be able to sell you if you've got nothing, if you've got no arguments to give them to sell you. So you need either a big Instagram, Facebook profile and say, listen, I have 5,000 likes on every picture, real likes. So these people will come to the concert, or they will come to the club, and they will buy tickets. And this is for a promoter, very interesting. Or on the other side, you're representing a big label, or you're interesting to play in front of a big artist. These are something that agencies also look for. Sometimes they don't look for the big artists. They want a smaller artist to maybe open a venue or open the club, and these things you have to take with you, because I've done it. I've done all this. I've built my DJing profile up from scratch, from start. I've played a lot of warm-up sets for Adam, for Sven, for Carl. I've seen them. I've cried because I want to be the main guy, but I wasn't. But these are the things you have to do. You have to. I don't know your age, but you know, if you're.
I'm 29.
39.
Yes.
29.
Okay, so
29.
29. Oh, so
I'm 29.
You've got a lot of time, so there's no rush for you. So you know, you have to. I know it sounds. I know it can be quite frustrating. You know, if you're not getting anywhere and you really want to do something and you can't.
And special coming out of the COVID, guys, that is important thing. Then it cannot be taken away from the equation of what is going on. Our frustration is much bigger now, Mark. And
I know. And there's a lot of people that are frustrated because they're putting so much work, energy, and money into it, and they're just not reaching the goal that they want to achieve. So it's like it's difficult. But if you really want something, then you have to keep on pushing and not give up.
Of course.
It's not something that happens overnight, and it didn't happen to me overnight. And I've been fighting all my career to be where I am now. I've been fighting. I've really been fighting. And it's like a shark tank. I mean, you know, you hold your little, or a piranha tank. You hold your little finger in there and you get it bitten off. And they take the whole hand as well. And they take your whole body if you get in there. So it's like, you know, there's so many little sharks out there. There's so much in the business, in the techno scene, where people are, you know, because it's all about money nowadays. You know, money rules the world, and it's funnily enough, it's become a big business. This music scene used to be a lot more focused on music, like I said before. Now it's a business, so people want to earn money with you. They want to earn money. They want to earn their 20% or what they're taking for you from the agency. You know, they're not going to work for free. So to come back to your original question, yeah, you have to make yourself interesting, then go with an agency and let the agency do the work for you. And never ask a promoter if you can be booked. That's the worst you can do. That's the worst thing I have done, because I used to go behind my agent's back. I used to go behind my agent's back. He used to get a no from the promoter, and I used to write to the promoter behind his back and ask if they can't really squeeze me in somewhere. So this is the worst thing. First of all, you fuck up your price. Second of all, the promoter's going to laugh at you and say, well, nah, this guy's begging for a gig. Nah. And these are the things that you have to really think about. And an agency is the best thing you can do, because the agent will always put what you want. You have to tell him what you want, where you want to be, and then he can work with that. So personally, talking to promoters, no, you go there, you do your music, you have a nice chat, you stay there an hour afterwards, then you go back to the hotel. That's how it works. And you know, this is how the business, well, on the booking side, that's how that works, and that's very important that way. And I've made many mistakes, like others too. So it's been a long, hard, difficult sort of road that I've been on, but finally I'm starting to get there where I want to be. So it's like,
I found when I was talking about this with Javier this week, I found if you are starting, and especially if we are running social media, is very important to start local and to build audience local, because that is your currency. If you have 200 followers, but that 200 followers go to your parties, it's probably more people than any other DJ brought to a small club on a small region. That is a very strong currency. And how you make that people following you become the guys who go to your gigs, that is a part of what we work together and I share my strategy. So I found in starting, it should not be like me, oh, I want to, because I go to India and I go to Mexico and I go to this and I want to grow everywhere. But it's less powerful. It's more show off and numbers, but it's less powerful. It's less strong when you want to say, oh, okay, I have 100,000 followers, but they are from all over the world. They don't have a specific strong brand in a specific city or a specific country. So keep that in your mind, in my opinion. Someone have any other question? No? Everyone is quiet? Mark, I am going to do the last question to you.
All right, cool.
Imagine then you can go back in time 10 or 20 years. What did you tell to your young self? Or how do you say to yourself, younger, whatever?
What would I say to myself?
Yeah.
Be more wise and be more patient. That's exactly, because I have not been patient. Back in the years, I've been very impatient, and that's made my. It's put it this way: if I wouldn't have been so impatient, I would have had my career, or my profile would have become bigger than it is now. Mm-hmm. If I would have had the patience. That is a very, very big word, and it's a very difficult word because a lot of people haven't got patience. I haven't got. I mean, now I'm wiser, I'm older, and I've worked out how the music scene works. But 10 years ago, I was all over the place. I mean, I couldn't wait. It was terrible. So being impatient is probably the killer. And getting on people's nerves and constantly trying to push yourself into somewhere where it's not your decision. It's it's other people's decision if they want you. You can't push yourself into something. Either they want you or you don't want, or they don't want you. And if they don't want you, you have to make yourself so interesting that they do want you. So what does that mean? It's like a rubber band. When you pull it, that's exactly the best example, because it will always come back to you, but you have to give someone space and people air to breathe. Do you know what I mean? So that's the lesson. That's the thing that I would have told myself 15 years ago, definitely. To be patient, wait for it, make yourself interesting, get these people to come and collect you. And that's what I didn't do, and I've had a lovely. Don't get me wrong, I've had a lovely experience with all of this, but I could have been bigger than I am, or even bigger than I was, or I don't know. I could have been playing main stages a long time ago if I would have done it like that. So, yeah, if that makes sense.
Of course, make a lot of sense, my dear Scorpio. It was so nice to have you. I think everyone did enjoy. I'm going to put this talk up through my channels as I edit this, because it's 1 hour and something long. So I will need to cut some parts out, at least for IGTV. But thank you so much, Mark, because I know how important this is for me and for all of us. And you are very special. Your music is amazing. I love the way that you live. And I'm your friend. I'm always here for whatever you need.
Thanks a lot. It was great to be here, and I wish all you guys a very I haven't gone on too much and bored you out of your brains, but I wish you all the best and for your careers and whatever. I suppose you're all doing music, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So keep going. A lot of good luck to you guys with your producing or whatever you're doing, DJing, or I don't know, with your Instagrams and your social media, because that's very important as well. That's another job. So yeah, and the most important thing is to stay healthy and